Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to OccultcatTv. I'm your host, O'Shea. As well, you can call me Atsanu, for this is my magical name. So, today it's going to be a video on Satan. Who, or exactly what, is Satan? Stay tuned. So, when it comes to working with Satan, especially if you're approaching it from a ceremonial magic position, maybe a witch, maybe you're approaching Satan as a witch, maybe a shaman, right? I approached Satan from more of a shamanic perspective back when I first worked with him about 7 years ago, or about 5 years, 5 to 6 years ago, consciously. And the thing is, as I started to work with Satan, in the beginning, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know his energies. I just knew that as an energy, as a being, I thought he was really cool, right? So I kind of do come into this path, and I come from the perspective of I was very edgy with Satan and his energies. Even back when I look back in high school, I would even see his name pretty much everywhere. I even named myself It's Satan 666 on Snapchat. And looking back, my friend also influenced me to name myself that. So I found that very synchronistic, looking at now that I embody those energies pretty heavily. The more that I started to learn about this being, I started to gain clarity into who he was, right? Because everybody wants to say that Satan is so bad, that Satan is evil, right? But the thing is, this is also coming from people that don't understand that everything is beyond good and evil. That what you might perceive as an evil act, that in another person's eyes, it might be just. And it's truly based off our perception, right? This is the duality of life. There's many different aspects to this reality, and everybody functions in different ways, honestly. One culture thinks this way, another culture thinks that way. Now, if you were brought up in, say, a traditional like Christian household, you went through all of this programming. You went through what I call, the system, right? And the system has scripts. It has a script. And then on top of that script, it has people that act under the script, right? In the Matrix, they'd call these agents, right? So many people have been programmed by the Matrix, but have been programmed by this reality to think, act, and be a certain way, when they know that that way isn't catering to them, that way isn't a foundation, it isn't truth, right? So when we're actually working with Satan, Satan's name comes from the word Satanama, right? Which is a Sanskrit word meaning endless truths, or as well, life, death, and rebirth. So when we work with Satan, when we start to work with these energies, we actually start to enter into our endless truths. We start to go through, life, and then we start to go through a death process, and then we are reborn as our greatest version. So I was actually just in a session, or in a ritual with Satan, and I was communicating with him, and I was really just trying to see what he provides, or what he wants me to tell people that he provides and what he's able to do, right? So in a sense, Satan is a patron of alchemists. He's a lord of alchemy, right? Satan can also be the deity Set for the Egyptians, for the Egyptian pantheon. Set, and then also to the Greeks known as Typhon, right? So when we look at life, death, and rebirth, what his name means, or as well endless truths, this is in a sense what he brings you into. He brings you into your endless truths. He brings you into a knowing of who you are, who you're meant to become, what you're able to achieve. Now, he doesn't tell you this is who you are. You are this person and you are good at this and you do these things. No. Instead, Satan's more of an entity that he will look at your path and he will ask you things. And then he'll start to tell you gnosis and wisdom pertaining to the path in which you desire to walk, right? Say you wish to be a better alchemist or a better occultist, a better witch, a better magician, a better shaman. Say you just want to better yourself in your spiritual or psychic abilities and just developing them, right? With that, go watch my video, Claircognizance, Developing Psychic Perception, a few videos before this one. But on top of that, back to the message. He can help you in, developing claircognizance, clairvoyance, right? He can aid you in all these ways, taking a base foundation, a base metal, right? We can say iron, and then helping you to transmute that iron into gold. So say if you wish to become a really good occultist or a really good, witch, he will help you to go from who you are now, and he will help evolve you to transcend into who you're meant to become. He's not always going to be telling you, this is you, right? But in a sense, he's going to be more orchestrating or creating signs and synchronicities around you that will then start to wake you up and uplift you out of the matrix. Because him being a lord of endless truths, why is it everybody's trying so hard to find truth in an illusion? We think this wall is physical, but yet it's not. It's made out of frequencies and vibrations. It's made out of condensed matter, right? Just like you are condensed matter. You believe that you are a physical being, but actually you are that of spiritual or etheric energy. Your energy in nature, right? So in a sense, whatever you desire is merely about transmuting that energy, breaking down that substance, that solid, and then recreating it, reforming it in the different ways in which we, know, right? So this is why the death process is so important, especially when we're talking about, Satan, or we're talking about the occult, right? Or becoming a greater version of yourself. Because within this process, within the death process, comes life. Life, death, and rebirth. We get a rebirth. So if we didn't like the life in which we desired, if we hated it, if we were depressed, always complaining about it, then wouldn't it be good when it dies? Wouldn't that be good for that life to die? Right? Wouldn't it be good to dissolve the illusions of who you perceived yourself to be, the ego? Because this is what happens when you actually start to work with Satan, right? This is something a lot of people will not tell you, is that everybody wants to look at it so edgy, like, oh, I work with Satan, oh, metal bands, screamo music. Like, everyone wants to look at it so deep and dark. The thing is, it's not dark at its core. It's not dark at its core or at its nature, but Satan is a being of immense darkness, and because he's a being of immense darkness, he holds so much wisdom, right? So when we interact with this being, whether it be his frequency, his vibration, right? It's very high vibration. It can be a condensed frequency, a very condensed vibration. And when we feel it, it feels so visceral, right? Sometimes, depending on, or when you're working with Satan, you might start to feel cold. You might just start to feel energy overflow you, be around you in a lot of ways. You might start to just see your clairsentience or claircognizance more empowered, right? You just start to, you feel your senses raise, your senses rise, right? This is what happens when you, in a sense, when you start to work with him, when you start to feel his energy. Now, what he's doing is letting you know his presence, letting you know that he's there. Back to what I was going. Okay, so in a sense, going back to what I was talking about with the ego, and as well with, death, life, death, and rebirth, dissolution, in a sense, right? So as I walked onto the path, as I stepped onto the left-hand path, I wanted all these things, right? I wanted to evolve. I wanted to become my greatest version. I wasn't really someone that sought power specifically, but I wanted it. I wanted to change. I was tired of playing the character that I was living, and I knew I could be more than what I was. I knew I could be more than what I was perceived to be. And that's actually what it was. It was my perception was creating my reality. And this is actually something that Satan has taught me immensely, is that how we perceive things, how we feel about something, that it's actually going to start to project. We project our feeling onto that, right? So it's in the same way that Satan has also shown me how to be more clear in my thought and my intention. Because when you want clarity, when you wish to gain clarity, you can't project. If you want to look at yourself for truly who you are, you have to perceive yourself with immense clarity, right? So when you start to look within yourself, or you even start to meet with this being, right? What this being is going to start to do, little do most people know this or know about the process, but what's going to actually start to happen is he's going to start to, in a sense, rearrange your psyche. And this is a natural process that happens in ritual, and as well along the left-hand path in the occult is alchemy, is transmutation, right? In order to take a base metal such as iron and transmute it into gold, we have to understand the process, right? And in this process, there is a death process. There is I believe it's the negrito phase, the darkening of a substance, right? The dissolution of it, or the darkening of oneself. And this is why, as we start to go within and to view our epiphanies, right, we actually have to start to reflect and look at our own psyche, our own soul, our own shadow, right? Hence the negrito phase, because it's actually within our shadow is our truth. Within our shadow is our strength, is our power, right? And this is exactly what this being teaches, is that within the shadow, that within the darkness, this is truly where you lie. This is truly where you are, where you hide from yourself. Because as we chose to incarnate into this game, as we chose to understand this matrix, we were compartmentalized into different aspects of ourself, right? Instead of it just being one aspect of our say our daemon, or our source, our soul, our self, right? It's now, instead, we have a higher self, because when we were separated from our higher self, or not separated, but when we incarnated, we chose to piece off or break away from that aspect of ourself, so that fragmented it. So we have our higher self, we have our daemon, the thing that we incarnated as. We have the persona, or the ego. We have the shadow, right? These are, as well as the true will. These are the things that are different aspects of ourself encapsulated within us, laying dormant, waiting to be unlocked, right? So in a sense, the more that we can unlock ourselves through going within, through facing, or rather understanding the shadow, this is then how we can become our greatest version. This is how we ascend, right? This is why Satan is Lord of Endless Truths, because it's within our darkness, within our shadow, lies all of our truths. So in a sense, this is why so much of our psychology is brought up when working with these beings, because as we embrace their frequency and their vibration, either in evocation outside of ourselves or in invocation, bringing everything inside of us, right? Then we now become Satan. We start to become Satan through that invocation, process or procedure, right? To invoke, right? In magic, it's called invocation, bringing a being within ourselves to then embrace that vibration and then achieve something through it. So whether it be us bettering ourselves at a craft, right, such as like alchemy or magic or business, a skill in some way, or it also just be going within and internally reflecting, who am I? What are my truths? What do I know? Right? Then you go into the darkness, right? The darkness, closing your eyes, go into the darkness of yourself, and then you'd actually start to go on a journey with that being to then find yourself, to know yourself. And it could either be, you laying down and going into a journey meditation, or you just sitting in ritual and staring at a candle, right? And then from you staring at the candle, then the flame starts to talk to you. It starts to dance, right? And then it's not exactly about reading the flame per se, but more so feeling the energy and what is the energy telling you. Because this is what it is to be psychic, to be claircognizant or clairvoyant, right? These are also things that Satan teaches. He teaches you how to be more clairvoyant. He teaches you how to see, because it's clairvoyance, clear vision, clear seeing, right? And it's the same with you, that once you look within yourself, the reason why, you start to gain immense clarity from looking in yourself. So you must face your shadow, right? You must integrate with the shadow through first dissolving your ego, right? As you dissolve your ego, you're able to peer into yourself. You're able to look within yourself into the nothingness, and then you actually can start to uncover under that silence or under that nothingness within your mind your truths and allow them to come to the forefront, where then you start to embrace them. So if if you go into ritual and you talk to Satan and he's like, you'd be a good writer, right? Your path, you are a writer. He might influence in some way and tell you these things, but he's most likely actually, instead of just going to say it, he's going to show you that you're a writer. In what way? If we do look at anime or metal music or movies, TV, Satan as well as Azazel is heavily prominent in all of these things, right? And then if you also look at Satan or Lucifer, Satan, god of music, right? So it's then through your own trials, through your own journeys, right, in the ritual space, or even in life, like life through signs and synchronicities showing you who you are, that then you're going to start to understand who you are through all of that, through the signs, through the ritual, through the invocation. It's not just in the ritual space that you'll find yourself. Just like it's not outside that you'll find yourself. Truly, everything is within. So we find ourselves within, and the more that we uncover and find ourselves within, as within, so without, our reality is also then unveiled. And our reality starts to then show us who we are from the gnosis that we've found, right? The more like attracts like. So the more that you've found yourself, the more that the outside world will find you. And I believe a really good quote right now would be Rumi's quote, "That which you are seeking is seeking you. That which you are seeking is seeking you." So as you find more of your truths, as you find more of yourself, more of your truths are then magnetized and gravitated towards you to find them. And these are signs and synchronicities, right? The universe is always showing you who you are through everything that you're doing. So on top of this, Satan helped me to dissolve my ego, to dissolve my doubts, my limitations, who I thought I was, and then from that dissolution process, which I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty intense process depending on how much you attach to your ego. Then once that dissolves, right, you're not killing it, but once it dissolves, then it's kind of now you're showing your ego that you're peering within yourself. You're looking into who you are, and your ego was telling you, I am this person, I am O'Shea, I am. But the thing is, once you then bypass the ego and you go within, you find your truths. You find who you are. Who you are was within the shadow. That's where your power lies. So it's the last place that you want to look is where you'll find yourself, within. Because who you are is within. And I remember even hearing one time a quote that if God was to hide from itself, he'd hide where no human would be able to find him, within themselves. Because most humans, most people don't go within themselves. They don't try to look for themselves. They don't try to find themselves, right? And especially in a day and time like this, where everybody's working their 9 to 5, going to college, in school, listening to their parents, listening to society, we're allowing this external world to drag us here and drag us there and drag us in all dimensions, in all ways. But we're forgetting the thing that matters the most is thyself, right? Just as the Egyptians said, know thyself. And I'm pretty much going to leave it here, you guys. On top of that, the things that Satan can teach you is empowered clairvoyance. He can teach you how to become really psychic, which then you can use in any other endeavor, whether it be magic or whether it just be in life, right? When we're more psychic, we can read people. We can empower people through our psychic abilities. On top of that, he can teach you how to go within the shadow and navigate and guide you through the realms of the dark matter, of the darkness, and as well just unifying with your shadow. And the moment that you unify with your shadow, you become a more evolved and greater version of yourself. With that, you guys, this is a video on Satan. If you enjoyed the video, please do feel free to leave a like. If you like the channel, feel free to subscribe. And I want to hear your guys' experiences. Who is Satan to you? How have you worked with him? In what ways has he empowered you? Have you felt his call? Right? And with that, you guys, my name's O'Shea. As well, you can call me Atanu, and I am your host. So I hope everyone's having a beautiful day, a night, if it's night for you guys. And with that, stay studying, stay meditating, stay elevated, and most importantly, stay hydrated, you guys. Stay hydrated. Have a beautiful night. Peace. I'm out.